Okay, everyone. Arsenal fan circle here. It is the pre-game show. Welcome. Saturday morning. This is the time where we're full of hope, Matt. what we
Absolutely, yeah.
we expect to see in pre-game, we all expect 3 points, but that's why they play these games. It never. Well, hopefully it goes to plan. Sometimes it doesn't, but we need 3 points
We
desperately
need
to.
we need to be the Avengers today. We need to go out and get those 3 points. So I expect us to stick a few past Brentford today, make it a nice, comfortable win. That's what I want to see. Whether we'll see that, we don't know. But yeah, got to go and avenge that 2-0 defeat at the beginning of the season and put things right. Eh?
Constantly comparing our side to the sides of old. Lee Dixon. Lee Dixon would mark the calendar. Would have marked the calendar back in August for this game. You know,
Yeah, it's
the revenge, the return fixture at Brentford against Brentford, having lost 2-0 on the opening day of the season. This is something the players need to remember.
yeah, absolutely. I think Brentford aren't in a particularly great place at the moment. They're kind of dropping points and they've kind of tailed off a little bit. We're kind of back on the good side of things again. So hopefully that bodes well. And obviously being at home as well, it all points to the right result. But obviously we've got to go out there and actually do it today.
What's the weather like? I'm watching the West Ham game, and as Ryan
Yeah.
says here, Joe Willock is finally being useful to both Newcastle and Arsenal. Only took him 6 months, I said to Ryan. Only took 6 months.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just to say hi, Riddy, just to see you in the chat as well. Hi, guys. Yeah, I was talking to you before we came on, wasn't I, about the comparisons. I can't remember which pundit it was that compared the finish by Willock to Dennis Bergkamp. And I was like, get out of here. Don't even dare mention Bergkamp's name in the same sentence. It was a good finish and a good touch, but it wasn't Bergkamp-esque. Come on. But yeah, it's at least he's getting a goal and contributing, which is good.
Yeah,
Nicely.
1-1 right now, halftime. We will keep tabs on that because obviously the duration of these 45 minutes will probably follow the West Ham game as well. Afternoon, Alex. Thanks for joining us as always. The mothership over there, Cannon Fodder TV. And if anyone has not subscribed to Cannon Fodder, go over there and subscribe to them. Great channel. I know, Matt, you've had a couple of opportunities to have some podcasts with Alex as well and the crew over there.
Yeah. Alex has been, well, like I say, fantastic channel. Alex is a great host, some really, really good content. So if you haven't checked them out, like Ray says, go and make sure you do that. Click like and subscribe. Really good debate, actually. I think Alex had a part 1 and a part 2 last week. I think he had in the North Stand over with him as well. So it's really worth checking that out. So make sure you do that. Yeah, very worthwhile. And thanks, Alex, for having me on as well.
Absolutely. Alex has a good one. No easy games in the Premier League, but it has to be 3 points today. I think I said that. That's me. Welcome to Pre-Game Highlights Show. Hashtag Flight Crew. Yeah, nothing's easy today, Matt. And looks like the conditions might be a little bit greasy, wet, rain in London. And I understand there's some snow further north of England as well.
Yeah, we've had, I live in the Midlands and I've had a lot of sleety kind of snow. It was quite heavy earlier. None of it stuck, but it definitely would have made for very wet, greasy conditions. London, a few photos I saw earlier this morning. It looked quite bright first thing this morning. It looked fairly dry, but it will probably would end up having some kind of sleet or rain at some point. So I'm sure the pitch will probably be a bit greasy. So hopefully no one goes lunging in. Could cause a few problems.
There's and good morning, Noe, all the way on the west coast of the USA. The dedication of all of the Arsenal fans waking up early, and he's probably just woken up at 5:30, something like that, out there right now in the morning. Got to commend the Arsenal fans for doing that, and
Absolutely.
even Thursday night we get a lot of insomniacs maybe.
It always amazes me. It always amazes me how many people are able to tune, particularly UK time. It's a great credit to them and the channel that people are happy to stay up in early hours of the morning to tune in and watch, and you get your regulars, which is great. So we thank you all for that.
So, talking about conditions, Matt, there's two ways to look at this for Arsenal. It could lend itself to maybe Brentford's way of playing, physical. There could be some problems if balls are not dealt with. The first ball into the box to Tony, Ivan Tony is probably going to be the danger man for Brentford, and maybe the conditions might lend itself for us to pass the ball quickly as well. The ball is definitely going to be able to zip around on that surface, so we don't know what kind of game we're going to get.
No, I think we've just got to go out there and stamp our authority on it early doors. Make sure your first tackle's good. Make sure you win your first header. Make sure you're not misplacing passes all over the place, and try and keep hold of the ball. Assert some dominance and try and keep some possession. Like you say, what we don't want to see is Brentford kind of being able to stamp their authority on early, being able to bully and physically kind of dominate us, and being able to use the likes of Tony to their effect today. Because like you say, that's probably what they're going to try and do given the conditions. So we've got to try and keep the ball on the ground and keep the ball to our feet and not give away sloppy passes, because that could be something that we struggle with today, maybe with the pitch conditions. Balls not quite reaching their man, or not having enough poke on them to get through where we want them to. So we just got to play sensible balls, not try to be too clever, and just try and keep hold of it, I think.
Brady would like to score early and settle the nerves.
Yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice. First 10, 15 minutes, go and get an early goal, set on the nerves, and then go from there.
The likes of Gabriel and White have to be quite commanding in there, and I think White is going to remember should have revenge on his mind from Ivan Tony. By all accounts, gave him a tough debut in the Arsenal.
Yes, yeah, he struggled, didn't he? I think there's a picture of him somewhere where Tony went up for a header pretty much unchallenged, and White was just kind of looking at him like that, going, "What do I do? I've got no hope." I think he's come on a long way since then, though, and I think White will give him a lot more of a challenge today. I think he's much more kind of into the groove in terms of, playing with Gabriel, and kind of their partnership has matured, isn't it? So I think he'll be a lot more ready for the challenge today. But sure, I mean, Tony, after that first performance, is definitely probably going to target White, I think, rather than Gabriel, because Gabriel's a bit more of a physical defender to try and win balls against, and he's better in the air, so he'll definitely try and challenge White again today, I would have thought, out of the two of them. But do we have Tomiyasu? Do we have Tomiyasu today, Ray? Because again, he's quite good in the air as well, so he might kind of tuck in on that right-hand side to help White out with aerial threats.
So I believe Tomiyasu will be ready to go. It's just a question of whether Arteta will feel that he can risk him. The next game's what, Thursday? So 5 days away. So Gary may be joining us. He's having some StreamYard problems, so we'll see what happens. Hello, Ray and Matt and chat room. Really, how we doing? Yeah, so two trains of thoughts there, Matt. Listen, we can try to be wise here, but basically the first 11 picks itself if we're going to go with Tomiyasu. So basically looking at right back, there's two trains of thought from Arteta. Is he going to pick his best side and know he's got 5 days for Tomiyasu to recover? Maybe the right back will be a position he considers as a substitute. Saving Tomiyasu 90 minutes, giving him a good 70, or will he just rest Tomiyasu from the outside and put Cedric in?
I think the physicality, I think he'd want Tomiyasu back, given Brentford's kind of attributes. I think he'd probably want him there. I think given how Cedric played against Wolves, and how he managed to get through that game, I think he'd be quite happy if he needs to play him in that game if Tomiyasu needs to rest after this one. But I think he'd probably want Tomiyasu available if he could, just because he's physically better. Aerially, obviously gives us a lot better cover, particularly for White as well, so we can kind of tuck in and help him out as well. And he's very good at kind of mopping up behind, the central two where he needs to. So I think Arteta would want him to play if he can and if he's fit and free. I've heard some good things in terms of he's available to play. I think he's been training this week. I've seen some training pictures of him, so I'm hoping he does play. But like you say, you don't want to risk him for, there's no point in playing him today if you're going to risk him then for 3 or 4 games for the next lot. So, only Arteta really knows that as to whether he's going to be fully fit.
Great shout, Matt, by highlighting the fact that Cedric would not be as physical or as tall. To combine with White, that would leave our whole right side of the defense at risk of maybe Tony isolating himself on that back post against White and Cedric. You'd feel a lot more comfortable if it was Tomiyasu on White.
Yeah, for sure.
Taking care of that scenario. Steve Denham says, "Hi guys, how are you feeling about today's game? Positive. We'll get 3 points." I can never 100% be positive, but I'm pretty positive we should get 3 points today. I'm going for a 3-0 win myself, Matt. What do you feel?
Do you know what? I was going for a 3-1. I could see them scoring, but it depends on who we have down that right-hand side. I think if we have Cedric playing, I think they could nick a goal. I think Tony could take advantage of White there. I think if Tomiyasu plays, I think that cuts that opportunity for him down quite considerably. So, but yeah, I'd go with a 3-1. I think they've got enough about them to get a goal and use their physicality to do that. But I think we should win comfortably today at home. We've got enough firepower to do that, and we'll want to avenge that first game for sure.
So, who would you like to score in a perfect world, Matt? I almost called you Gary there. In a perfect world,
well, it's Max now.
Max. Oh, you want to keep that? You want to keep that move lingering along? Okay, we can do
my
that.
Alliance, yeah. Okay, Stephen, and Gary.
In a perfect world, who would you like to score? I mean, I've got Lacazette penciled in because he needs a goal.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think I'd like to see Lacazette get on the score sheet and try and get a bit of a run going where he's actually kind of putting balls in the back of the net as well as providing for others. So definitely Lacazette. I'd like to see Saka score because Emil Smith Rowe has kind of improved his scoring this season. I think Saka needs to do the same. Yeah. We haven't really seen a lot from him in terms of goals this season, so it'd be good for him to grab one. Yeah. And then probably I think we'd all love to see a Partey screamer, wouldn't we? One that's actually kept below the crossbar level and actually go smashing into the top corner, top bins. So I'd love to see Partey get a goal. But I think Laka and Saka for sure. And then you could probably pick between Partey, maybe Odegaard, if he plays.
Yeah, good shout in Saka. So I'll go along with that. Lacazette, Saka. And you know what? I think Pepe could and should be the 12th man. And I'd like to see him come on and show some AFCON confidence
magic
with Arsenal. AFCON magic. Pepe special, please. Ray, do you realize if you had your yellow shirt on, we would score 4 goals? I did not know that, but maybe I could switch, but not mid-podcast. I'm not gonna switch mid-podcast. Nobody wants to see that, man. So let's run through the team real quickly. I think it picks itself, right? Ramsdale, Kieran Tierney, Gabriel, White, and stop me if you disagree. White, Tomiyasu, of course. Xhaka is the number 1 pairing with Partey. Whether we like it or not, that is the case. Odegaard in the 10. I think Emil Smith Rowe on the left side, Saka on the right, and Lacazette through the middle.
Yeah, I think that's probably what we'll see. Like you say, Pepe. It would be good to see Pepe come on second half because, like I say, he's had a good AFCON. It'd be a shame to waste that momentum that he's got and that energy and probably the motivation that he's picked up from doing well. You could probably capitalise on that a little bit as a team and take advantage of that because he hasn't got any minutes or any motivation from playing for Arsenal at club level. Before the competition. So, hopefully we'll see him and he'll make an impact.
Here's the state of play as of right now. We're in the league table. It shows basically you're looking at 22. The first number is the amount of games played. The second number is the amount of points garnered from those games. And, Wolves fans will want to be in the conversation still of top 4. I think we can dispense with 8th. Hopefully Spuds are not going to pick up. Conte looks like a broken man there down in 8th place.
It's beautiful. Inject it into my veins, please. Keep it as long as possible. Every interview he does, Ray, he seems to be edging for a way out, doesn't he? He just looks thoroughly depressed, and I can't blame him because I think most people would be working for Tottenham. But it's it's that photograph of him in the rain. I know Gary mentioned it on the podcast
I'm just
Thursday,
thinking
but
that right now, Matt. I'm just thinking.
it was beautiful. It was
You know what?
beautiful.
And you know what? Up in Manchester, it's probably raining up in Manchester as well. So we're probably going to see
100%.
a little bit later today. We're going to see Antonio Conte standing on the sideline, forlorn, rejected, and as drowned, like soaking wet, like a drowned rat. You know what I mean?
He's not going to last there, is he? By time summer, if they give him some paltry kind of excuse for a transfer budget, he's not going to stay. He needs the checkbook, and he isn't going to get it, is he?
No. So the Spuds have Manchester City. They've lost 3 in a row. It should really be 4th in a row, 4 games in a row. Up at Manchester City,
Be.
can you see them getting anything up there, Matt?
Well, if I remember rightly, they don't do too badly against City, do they? I can't remember their last. I'm going to have a look.
Beat them on the opening day of the season. They did beat them 1-0 with that Son goal at home.
Yeah, so there's a possibility because obviously the last game they played, but I can't, not at this stage of the season where they're at and kind of their level of motivation, their confidence, everything else. I can't say. I mean, City are in absolute rampant form at the moment. You've seen their European games, in the last week or two, and they look hot at the moment. So I can't see anything but a fairly comfortable or a very comfortable City win today.
Steven said halftime, see how we're doing if we need to make the change for Pepe. Definitely. I think today should be, and we'll talk about Brentford as well. Spurs are actually City's bogey team. Okay, so Wolves rebounded from the defeat against us, did us a favor. Absolutely went into overdrive, and Spurs just could not live with them for the first 20 minutes last weekend, Matt.
Beating Wolves isn't for everybody, is it?
No.
Wolves are a good side, and everyone moaned about our celebrations at the end of the game. You're celebrating like you've won the league, but you know what? Wolves are in good form. They're a good side. They caused most teams problems. They've been doing well. I think they've won 4 games of their last 5. So they're a good side, and people tend to forget that. And they are in contention. For kind of those top 6 spots. So, and it just goes to prove that, the likes of Tottenham are wanting to push up for 6th and the like. They're gonna pose some problems. They're not going to be an easy team to beat. So, it's good to see them lose.
To your point, looking at the form table, the last 5 games, City and Liverpool have 13 points, 4 wins and a draw. The next best after that is Wolves with 4 out of 5 wins. So very vital that the defeat that they suffered was at our hands. It mitigated. They gained 2 more points than us in the last 5 games. We've gathered 10 points in 5 games.
And it's tight, Ray, because there's only 2 points between us. We've got a game in hand, and it's kind of keeping the Wolves at bay, I suppose, if you want to put it that way.
Keeping the Wolves from the door.
Absolutely, that's the phrase I was looking for. Thank you. Yeah. You've
Today, Wolves have Leicester City, and a little worried about Brendan Rodgers. He called out his players. I believe that they're giving him a reaction against West Ham last time out, 2-2 draw. They really should have won the game, but West Ham are that team that hang in there.
Yeah. Well, Leicester again, they're a good side. They've been fairly consistent in the last few seasons in finishing in those top spots. So. They're definitely capable. Yes, they've hit a bit of a bump, but I don't think that'll last too long. As the last game proved, they can go and fight with the best of them. So, I wouldn't be surprised if you see another reaction and they're going to put in a decent result again because they won't want to stay where they are at the moment. So yeah. But they're nowhere near us at the moment.
It is going to be difficult tomorrow. It's probably it's a showcase game, 11:30, 4:30 over there in the UK. Yeah. Wolves are home to Leicester. Leicester to go to Wolves, it's going to be a tough game for them. Moving on, we'll skip over Arsenal because we're going to talk about them. in a moment. West Ham right now, I believe, is it still 1-1? Yeah, it's
It's
still
1-1
1-1.
still. Yeah.
63 minutes here, 1-1. Joe Willock stepping forward, grabbing some points away from West Ham. And this is the 26th game that West Ham's going to be playing. We'll actually have, after this game in 45 minutes from now, we'll have 4 games in hand on West Ham. And if they win, they'll only have 5 points gap on us, So, we're in good shape there as well. Man United, tomorrow they play Leeds, and it's the Yorkshire Derby, right? That's what they call it, Leeds.
Yeah.
Leeds United, and there's no love lost between those two teams historically as well.
Absolutely.
Going back to the
absolutely.
early '90s, that was a big rivalry, Man United and Leeds. So, and they would probably say it is still a rivalry in that area.
Well, you had some good lead sides. When they were doing really well quite a few years ago. So they had Rio Ferdinand come across, and they sold Rio Ferdinand. They sold a few decent players. I think did they have Mark Viduka, was it? And who was the other? There's an Irish forward.
Robbie Keane. Robbie Keane was with
Robbie
Leeds.
Keane. That's it. Yeah.
They had Mark Viduka. They had David Batty. So good teams.
Yeah.
Steven said, I hope we're moving the ball around with pace and purpose today. No slow build up and sideways shit. I hope we can get at them right from the off, creating space, breaking the lines, and scoring goals. Gary, welcome.
Steven!
Hello. I don't like computers.
Computer is no good.
I don't
But
like.
apparently they don't like you either, Gary.
Today's are. I don't know. It's. I know it's doing what I'm telling it to do, but I don't like it.
Did you restart it? That's the first thing, right?
I guess so. I guess Control Alt Delete, as they say, right?
Even the IT guys will say that first.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Have you tried turning it off and back on again? Yeah.
I did not do that. because it just seemed, It's just,
did you curse the required amount of times? Did you curse the required amount of times at it? That helps as well.
You say Bloody Mary in front of the mirror, however many times.
Yes, but most importantly, keep 11 men on the pitch.
Yes,
and please. Gary has arrived to mention 11 men on the pitch. That's probably what we want to talk about first, Gary. Keep 11 men on the pitch. It's most beneficial to getting 3 points at the end of the day.
Yeah, that would be nice, right?
the Rose Derby of the North.
The question is, has Xhaka finished his Panini book for red cards, or has he still got a couple of spaces left?
That man is always he's got a Rolodex. He just he goes through because he has different cards for different days, so he never ending. I mean,
so
if he's not going to learn now, he's never going to learn, right? So.
No,
so Gary, the lineups are going to be announced in about 7 minutes from now. We are not going to try to tell ourselves we're geniuses by trying to predict this lineup because every fan can probably predict this lineup right now.
Yes. Well, we're finally at that spot, right? It was this time last year we're like throwing rocks up in the air, seeing how they land, and then going, all right, he might go this way. That player actually did good last game, so he's probably out, right? So. Now he doesn't have that many options now, so it doesn't matter.
Very true. Very true.
Gary, what do you want to see? Do you want to see Tomiyasu in the side, or do you want to rest him? I mean, obviously it's a decision from the medical staff at Arsenal.
Yeah, he's been out for a while. I mean, at the least he needs to come into this game. So I don't, so at the least, regardless of what the score is, he needs to come into this game.
And right back would possibly be a candidate for substitution at some point with Cedric.
Yeah, that's what I think that needs to happen because we need him back, but if he can't start, he definitely should play. But we always say if we need to score, then we should play Pepe. So it just doesn't always, common sense doesn't always seem to work in these situations, all right? So Arteta said he's questionable, but he's ready to go. So whatever that means. If that's Xhaka, he's playing, right? Right. So
yeah, no doubt.
So I don't know, where I guess we figure out what levels these players are at. Is he at the Xhaka level where, he put his shirt on right today, he plays? Or is he or is he not?
He always puts his shirt on the right way. You know that. You know that. Gary, talk a little bit about that team. They're playing Manchester City. They're going for 4 in a row, but not wins. Um, Wolves have a difficult game, albeit at home to Leicester City. I think Brendan Rodgers is finally getting through to some of his team and getting the tune out of them. West Ham is struggling. Well, if they're struggling, they're
I
struggling
don't know if they're
all right
struggling.
now.
That the West Ham is the West Ham. That's who they are, all right?
Yeah.
And
Well,
Newcastle is
right now, they might be dominating the game. I'm not watching it, but it is still 1-1 with
no.
They're
I mean,
playing well.
for
They're
me,
playing well.
Newcastle actually looked better than West Ham. If you're looking at levels, like that, they to me looked like they were the one that they could have had 2 goals. The way they've been threatening them and
Yes.
slicing through them.
They started off really well.
Yeah,
With intensity as well. First few
yeah.
minutes,
Yeah,
and then we have
Willock was able to stick his feet between 2 defenders and chip it in for a goal. So
yep,
they've looked really good today.
fantastic.
West Ham is threatening because as soon as you get the ball to Antonio, good things are going to happen, and that's always in the back. They're in their back pocket. So Newcastle they can't rest.
And finally, the Roses Derby, as Riddy has told us, the Roses Derby, the Lancashire Derby of the North, Manchester United away to Leeds. We're hoping Leeds going to make that a tough game for Manchester United as well tomorrow. So, point of all this, Gary, is that other teams around us and are close to us are having difficult games, and there's no easy games in the Premier League. Not making excuses, but we really should go out and get 3 points today and watch other teams struggle for points as well.
Well, we need to get 3 points every game now, and that's kind of. I mean, our failure should be draws, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
We shouldn't. We get a loss. That should be like the end of the day. But yes, we can live. We get to play another game, but we need to play really well for 90 minutes and make sure we can get everything we can out of the game. I don't want to. I want to see these gaps of play where we were like, I don't know what just happened in the last 30 minutes. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of feel like we need to be on the front foot the whole time.
Ready said the teams are out. I'm going to throw up our anticipated lineup and we'll find out very soon if it is different to that.
Yeah, I got it up here if you want me to read it out to you.
Go for it. Yep.
So,
okay.
like so usual, we got Ramsdale in goal.
Mm-hmm.
You've got, not a surprise, but you got Cedric, White, Gabriel, and Tierney on the back line.
Okay, Cedric.
Yeah. So Partey and Xhaka in the middle. Then you've got Saka, Erdegaard, Smith Rowe, and then Lacazette in front. So no, I don't think any of that is a surprise to any of us.
Yeah.
All right. Tomiyasu is on the bench, so he is available. Pepe is on the bench.
Wasn't quite fit enough, clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the realms of we didn't want to risk anything, Matt.
Yeah, and I understand that. Arteta's got to make a judgment call, isn't he? At the end of the day, he knows how ready he's going to be. There's no point in risking players. We saw that with Partey when he came back too early after his injury. When we had that North London derby, and then he ended up being injured for another few games after that. There's absolutely no point in risking it because you're cutting your nose off to spite your face. So no, fair enough. If he's not fit, then he doesn't play.
Yep.
Do you think Brentford will see Christian Eriksen play today?
Yeah. I don't even know why I understand why he wants to play, but I don't know why he wants to play and why teams want to play him. I think I get it. I don't get it. You know what I mean? It's a big risk, Yeah. I mean,
we hear all the time, Gary, and I know it's really is a sensitive issue, but we hear all the time about players. They never really want to hang up their boots, and always want a little bit more. And but I don't think there's going to be any controversy about. I think he's going to get a warm reception. I don't think.
You'd like to think so.
Yeah. I don't think any Arsenal fans would want to, just because of the previous Tottenham connections. There's no way you should be booing a player who had a fright like that last summer. You know what I mean?
No.
We would like to think that we're classy enough and I think we are. I'm going to put my hand on heart and say, I don't think you're going to hear any kind of bad reaction to his name being announced or
Yeah, it's
even
like
even if
Riddy's saying he's not on the bench. So
he's
I
not in the
mean,
squad.
Right.
But
yeah,
Okay.
it's
so it's
you
a
know I
hypothetical.
yeah, I mean, even if he plays, I think it's like one of those things where it'll be late in the season,
Yeah.
and it'll
Yeah.
be it should be spot duty. I mean, there's no reason why you need to rush him back. He wants to come on the pitch and walk off is what he wants, really. You know, yeah,
Yeah.
that's what he wants. He wants to
Yeah.
go off on his own terms as opposed to
And
be carted off.
I'm sure it was a tough situation with his loved ones, his wife, his family,
Yeah,
to have that discussion. Um, Brady said, I think Tommy will start against Wolves on Thursday. And Gary,
Good shout.
Wolves on paper, we don't play the game on paper, but on paper, Wolves is the more difficult one at home.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know?
I mean, that's why he needs to play today. If he's healthy enough to be on the bench, and he plays, right? We've
Yeah,
said
to
that
get
many times, but how many times has it actually where have we actually seen it happen, right? A player that we know is a starter for Arsenal is on the bench, so he should at least play, and sometimes they don't. So we'll see. We'll see if Arteta has learned a little bit, because players he needs to play. Because if you're thinking he's going to be playing against Wolves, then he needs to get his feet wet, before he gets into that match, because it will be a tough
Yeah.
one,
yeah.
even if it is at home. I think they play much better at home than they do. On the road than they do at home. So we should be expecting a really good game out of them.
Matt, two games coming up at home. Both games will present very different propositions to the team. Physicality of Brentford versus the technicality of Wolverhampton Wanderers. You know,
Yeah, it's just like you say, it's going to be. We have to play these games one game at a time. I think eh, this season, I know Arteta's tried playing down the whole. I know Thierry Henry's obviously been in the news recently, hasn't he? Saying, if you don't reach fourth, it's a failure. I think he's very much trying to keep the focus on the team playing one game at a time, not to lose sight of fourth place, because I'm sure they're discussing that and that's been put out there as a goal internally. But I think not to put too much pressure on. They just want to focus on game by game. But yeah, it's you got physicality of Brentford, but then Wolves. Okay, they're not as physical as such, but they're still going to give you a rough game. They're not a tiki-taka side. They play good attacking football, but they're not scared of a tackle. As we saw, we saw challenges going in that game against Wolves last time. Probably a few yellows should have been seen more early on than we saw. So they're not by any means a pretty side as such. They're going to give us a rough time of it as well. Like Gary says, they play decent football away from home as well. So it's not going to be an easy game. Brentford, yes, probably the more physical in terms of their actual attributes. Physically, they're going to give us a rougher ride. But yeah, two games that could be difficult for us. I mean, Brentford today, like I say, we should beat them comfortably despite the physicality. We mentioned earlier, White should be a little bit more alert to Tony's presence this game and give him a bit more of a challenge today than he did last time round. But we've got to have a plan A, a plan B, a plan C. We've got to be able to deal with the pretty sides who play good attacking football but on the ground, but we've also got to be able to deal with teams who, play long balls over the top and be able to defend pretty stoutly against those kind of teams as well. So, I think we've seen that this season from Arsenal. I think we've been pretty solid defensively against lots of different types of football. So I'm hoping that, we should see that today. Hopefully we shouldn't be, put out by it too much.
Hey Gary, that's a key point from Arteta's Arsenal this season, and we'll get back to the Thierry Henry discussion in a second as well. I want to just touch on that, but control. It's all about being in control at the back, Gary. Minimizing going a goal down. We haven't really seen this Arsenal team go a goal down, much less two down. And be able to come back. So it's about control. It's about getting that first goal. And if we get that first goal today, I believe Brentford will throw in the towel a little bit. They won't be up for it. And then it's just up to us to get that second goal, which has proved to be difficult at times, Gary.
Yeah, and it's, you know what? both of those we need to see though, right? We need to see both of those type of scenarios. The team either comes back from a goal, the team's able to finish off another team. So we haven't really felt like, I don't think we feel like we've seen this yet from the team. So that it's growing. They are playing on knife's edge or playing on the ledge, right? Basically, they could fall off at any time because they are. We keep saying they're young, but then we keep expecting them to do really well because they have been. So we want to see that continue to grow. But yeah, no, I don't. Yeah, I don't feel like the team is ready to go down a goal and then come back. You know what I mean? Not yet, not yet. Because if we were, then I would. Another way I think that would happen is if I felt like, you know what, look to the bench. Who can change this game up? We never do that, right? So that shows that the confidence is only in the starting 11 right now. So yeah, and we put a lot of money into our defense, so we should expect not to give up goals, right?
Yep.
I mean, that's the one thing we do is we don't give up. We put for the last couple of years a lot of money's gone into the defense.
Yep.
So the defense has to be the strength of the team in the sense of, you know what, you're putting all your money there, then you better expect them to play, and they performed, right?
Yeah, and Arteta has talked about fine margins as well. Stephen, where is Tony at? Tony is not an early riser. I believe he's not an early riser.
Yeah.
He's the guy we all want to see today.
Actually, he's up doing a lot of maneuvering, moving. To say that he's just been doing a lot of moving around, of shuffling, as they say, and yeah, man's busy.
I heard he was playing with his Russian dolls, wasn't
he? Something like that. No, I didn't want to comment on the Henri thing because I heard. I don't know if you guys want to go down that road or not, but
yeah, we want to touch on a little bit. And look, I've wanted Arteta to say balls out, we're going to go top four, but I understand as Matt said, he's probably not wanting to put that undue pressure on the team. The pressure is going to ratchet up. We saw the rescheduled fixture with Liverpool. It's smack bang in the middle of Leicester and Aston Villa across 6 days. So the pressure is going to come from the fixtures itself. So Arteta, being Arteta, Gary, he doesn't want to say too much.
Yeah, but I mean, you have to. I mean, this is what these players need to hear it, though, right? I mean, I don't know if they're hearing it inside the locked doors, but they definitely need to hear it. I mean, you should be trying to win the league, right? If you're not doing that, then you should be trying to be one of the top teams in the league, right? Which means you need to be at the top of the table. So you need something to strive for. Not playing good football. That's not for me what footballers want to do. If they're true footballers, they don't just want to play good football. They want to see the fruits of their labor. They put in a good 90 minutes at the end of the day, at the end of the season. They want to look at it and go, you know what? Yes, we didn't get close to where we wanted, but we did good, and I'm happy with those results. So, yeah, I mean, I hear that, but I kind of feel like it's there. You should be able to talk about it.
Yeah.
If you're scared to talk about it, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
Right?
But he probably is afraid, Matt, to introduce that variable. I believe the young players have that ambition and want to feel like, push your chest out. We're going to go for top four here. I mean, look at Ramsdale, relegated twice. He's got a chance of Champions League football there,
Absolutely,
say.
Yeah.
These are ambitious proof.
These guys, they're all professional footballers. They will know where they're sat in the league. They'll know what points everybody else is on. They will know that they've got an opportunity for top four. I can't imagine that in the position we're in, behind locked doors, those kind of targets aren't being set for the team. I'd find that really hard to believe. I think we all know what the media is like, particularly around Arsenal Football Club. You mention one thing at Arsenal and the media jump on it and give you a load of grief for it, which other clubs don't get. I think we're probably acutely aware of that. And I think it would almost be a bit silly maybe to start setting targets in public. I think that's good management at this point, is to kind of have those conversations privately behind closed doors. You don't need to set that target publicly. Doesn't mean that you don't have that ambition. It doesn't mean that it's not been discussed. It doesn't mean that the club aren't very ambitious, and that's where they want to be, and that's what they've been aiming for as a team. The Arteta will be working with these players day in, day out, and be pushing them hard to get results and win games and get that fourth place. But you don't have to say that in public and put, what is a pretty... They're like velociraptors, the British press, around Arsenal Football Club. And you just don't need to put that out there at this stage when it's so finely balanced as well. You've still got, say, 15, 16 games left of the season. Keep those targets behind closed doors, work at it as a group in private, and then see how you get on and take each game as it comes. Because I personally think it would be naive to set those targets publicly at this point.
Yeah.
I always harken back to Leicester City 5 or 6 years ago from that title challenge under Ranieri. Ranieri was always about the next game, and he was always trying to deflect the expectation of being in a title race. Leicester, I think, just survived relegation the season before, so they went from relegation to winning the league, and that was in a time where all the other teams were not equipped. Arsenal were struggling in the end. Chelsea were struggling. City was just getting going under Pep. We have a similar situation, Gary, this season. If we're good enough, we can take advantage of some of the teams that traditionally would be top four candidates.
Yeah.
If we're good enough this season.
Yeah, I mean, see, for me, I don't understand how we can look at it that way, but then we can't say, you know what, let's try to get top four, or let's try to win the league, because to me, they're all goals that you need to try to strive for. So if you're playing against a team if you're playing in an environment where you look around you and everybody's dropping points, what's the difference between that and trying to get fourth place? To me, they're the same. They kind of put the same stress on you, because guess what? If you drop points, then you basically you're not being able to move ahead, and that's what the goal is, to move ahead and move up the table. So I kind of feel like the mindset has to be the same. So if we talk about taking advantage of teams that are dropping points all around us, then you can talk about trying to get top four. You can talk about trying to win leagues. You can talk about trying to win cups, because all, for me, they're all on the same path. They're all putting the same stress on you.
Yeah.
Right. Because you look around.
The players are going to look at the league table, Gary. They're looking at Man United. They're looking at West Ham right now, still 1-1 going into the final minutes. They're looking at Wolves and probably breathing. That was a big win against Wolves, and I think the circumstances accentuated that, because we had a man sent off in bizarre circumstances. We're going to see similar double fouls and go, but there, look, and the ref doesn't do anything. That's just life as an Arsenal fan.
And I was gonna say, when we play teams and we struggle against them, and I kind of feel like we help them along, right? Because Wolves had a really tough game against us. We were able to squeak out a goal, and next game they go out and blow away that team. All right,
because
that's us. That's us. That's the Arsenal effect, as far as I'm concerned. You play Arsenal, you struggle to get what you want out of it. Guess what? You play harder the next game. And that's what Arsenal does, right? Arsenal does something, the world is all ablaze, right? Why does Arsenal get a game off when everybody else gets 4 or 5 games off?
I think
we move the needle, even though they don't want. They even keep telling us, you know what, you don't have control. And
we provided that energy to Wolves. We took advantage of. They didn't play. Maybe they didn't play great when we beat them, but they came out against Tottenham and put them to the sword after 20 minutes. Okay, so Matt, Henri's, let's tease it out a little bit. Henri's comments, both things can be correct. Henri can say, you don't have to hate Arteta and Henri. Both things can be mutually exclusive, right?
Yeah, do you know what? Henri's well within his rights to turn around and say, if you don't achieve top four, it's a failure. I get all the comments around the standards, because absolutely, we're the Arsenal Football Club. And we are, a top club in this country with a fantastic history, a fantastic history of winning things, being competitive, being amongst the best in Europe, fighting for the best trophies, the best players, with the best stadiums, and that's where we should be, absolutely. And Henri being a legend of the club, a fantastic kind of representative of the club, he's going to want to see us do that, and he's with his winning mentality, he's going to look at the position we're in now and think, well, no, you have to go and get fourth place. It's there for the taking. You should take it. I think where he's probably maybe not being so thoughtful or too smart about is the fact that I think he seems to think that, we're not already aiming for that. I think within the club, like I said a few minutes ago, that's all. I would find it incredible if they're sitting back and thinking, oh, yeah, sixth's okay. That isn't going to be the case. They're going to have fourth on the mind. This is what they're going to be aiming for, and they're going to go out until the end of the season to try and achieve that. I think it's a bit, although Henry's entitled to his opinion, I think if he was really trying to help the club, I don't think it's a helpful comment. Because I think, when you think about these young players and the pressures and things like that, I don't think it's the smartest comment to make to help the team and help the club at this point in time. I think he maybe should have saved that comment for the end of the season to say, well, you didn't reach top four, it was a failure. Fair enough if you don't achieve at the end of the season, but I think to maybe come out and say that at this point in time doesn't really help the Arteta or the team. It just adds pressure, and again, it invites that focus from media and everything else, and then just adds and piles pressure onto his own club, who he will want to see succeed, and it's not really helping in that. So I just wish he'd kept that comment or comments around fourth being a failure until maybe the end of the season, rather than saying it now. But he's like Arteta said. I thought Arteta handled that really well. He didn't really he acknowledged it. He kind of said, yeah, fair enough. He's entitled to his opinion, but moved on very swiftly and deflected that. And I think that's a sign of a good leader. I think Arteta's shown time and time again he's very good at handling the media. He doesn't take any nonsense. He's quite happy to just kind of deflect things. He's very happy to open up and kind of take the blame for things as well. He's not shy.
Well, I don't think he takes the blame on his shoulders too much as well. I've never actually really heard him say, it was my fault, right?
Yeah, maybe not. He's very good at deflecting. Maybe it's probably a better way of putting it.
He is very well media versed with the media, Matt.
Yeah.
Gary.
Yeah. So I guess a couple of things. One is Arteta. If you're selling Arsenal, right? If you're selling Arsenal, this is the type of things that you want to be selling them on, right? What? Winning championships, playing in Champions League. You have to. That's what. Supposedly there's a knock, right? We heard that before, right? There's a knock, right? When there's a knock at the door, it's the Arsenal knock. What are they knocking for? To play some good football or to win championships and cups and stuff like that? That's what you're doing. And so if that's the case, and that's what Arteta has actually told us, then what Henry said shouldn't be looked down upon and be like a negative, because that's what the team should be striving for, regardless of whether they say it out in public or not. For me, I feel like that shouldn't be a negative. I do get your comments on, if he's looking out for the team, then maybe he shouldn't say these types of things. But then when we want them to speak, and then when he doesn't, it would be the same thing. Then you would be like, why isn't he talking about that? And it's like, you can't have your cake and eat it. You got to get the good and the bad. And when I say good and bad, I mean, like, say the team did something bad. You want Henry to go out there and speak about it. Now he's actually confident in his team that he feels like, finishing sixth just isn't the same anymore. Nah, we're better than that. And I think that's so you can look at it as a negative. We can also look at it as a positive. He's really sees something good in this team. And I think we all do, because we all feel fourth place is definitely achievable. So you can turn it around depending on how you look at it and say, he's got a lot of trust. He sees something better, as opposed to him going, I just can't see us getting fourth this year. That would be the same kind of. Then we would be saying, why is he so negative? So I kind of feel like
comment, Gary. It's a fair comment.
Yeah. So I kind of feel like he's being confident, but I do agree that and this is the thing: if the team is that weak that he can say that, and then they can be stressed by it, or Arteta can be flustered by it, then that's a problem. Because he can say, he could just come out and say, Henry is talking, but we know we got inside. I want to feel like he's in control, not like people are always creating the narrative for the team. I kind of feel like he has to react all the time. And I would like to say, Henry is speaking, but I know from listening to to Arteta in the past that he's got a plan, and the plan is to do really well, as opposed to he says nothing and we just have to make up our minds as to what we think he's talking about. You know what? And that's the same thing for me is when we come into a game when we play poorly in, and you don't even he's still he's still trying to play it up like, yeah, this was a good thing, and it's like, no, it wasn't. Come on, you can't think that. I mean, and I don't want you. You're lying to me when you smile and you say these things. I get not wanting to ruffle the feathers with the players, but at some point, you know what? All the best managers will make sure that it's known what's going on in the back room. The players know it as well. All right. I'm just not happy. You know what? We can't just be getting red cards all the time, right? Our defense today was just not
At
where we
some
wanted
point,
to be. You know what? We put a lot of opportunities in there to score, and we did not bring it home. All
at
these
some
types of
point,
things, you hear them, and they're not negatives. They're just, you know what? And you know what? That's probably just because that's the way he played, right? He played that way, and it's like that's not what any of us like. I don't think any of us like that style of play. We
who
want that
played?
guy to get in your. You want that tyranny screaming at you, getting in you, still being able to perform. Right? That's what you like. You guys talk. If I hear it all the time, all the players we talk about, all of them, all the good ones that we talk about, they weren't these quiet players like an Arteta was on the pitch. They were these
Well,
fiery players that
Vieira, yeah,
they had
Vieira.
the badge and they're playing for the badge, and you knew it, and everybody knew it, and that's what you want. I mean, we're fans. That's what we want.
Yeah,
We want
you
guys that
still
go out there will sweat. Was it sweat,
blood
blood and
and
tears?
tears,
You want all that stuff. That's what you look.
blood,
That's what you
sweat,
want.
and tears.
Blood,
Yeah.
sweat, and tears. Yeah, that's what we
You
want.
we had all of those players. We had Vieira, who wasn't a vocal player. He didn't talk a lot, too much in the field. Maybe he didn't need to because he had another 10 captains around him. He said that. But physically, you knew he was there and he was leading by example. You had Tony Adams, who would hand out bollockins on a regular basis if needed as well.
Yeah,
At some point, Gary, you just have to trust that you want your kids to grow up and mature, and you want the same for this Arsenal team to start taking some more work on themselves and not expect it to be handed to them as well. I always
yeah,
remember
yeah.
Ray
No, I was
Houghton.
gonna say, and I was gonna say, you talk about Terry, Henri, but I know once he had the ball at his feet, basically you were his, right? And everybody knew it,
Jamie Carragher could
right?
attest to that. Dave will tell you. Dave's right there.
But you know what? So you know what? He's not like that leader, that the rah leader, but you knew he was in control of what was about to
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
And that's what
And
you either want that or you want that guy screaming at everybody else, making sure that they're on the same page, right? So yeah,
listen, good luck to Dave. Dave looked at our Arsenal team 15 years ago. They were suffering and said, I want my team to be like that Arsenal team. Now it's flipped. Liverpool
yeah,
are a pretty good team. They got good players.
yeah.
They're able to switch things out, switch the gears, and it's
Mhm.
still the same product on the field. And we're trying to get there where you are, Dave, and hopefully it will get there. Theory unreal. There's always a thing about great players will be vocal. We got Roy Keane, but the thing about leadership as well. Ray Houghton in the Irish setup, he was a young player at one point, and then he became an experienced player, and he looked around in the dressing room with younger players, and he realized he was now a leader, and he had to start showing an example. So that's a story from Ray Houghton and the Irish setup way back then. So listen, we'll round it up in a minute. Tony is organizing maneuvers, maybe in Eastern Europe. Maybe he's sleeping in. We don't know what's happening. But in the meantime, Matt, there is a big game, and I think West Ham just drew 1-1 with
Yeah, they just finished
Newcastle.
up. Yeah, yeah.
So yet again, the players will know this, whether it's
Dropping
been
points.
drop points from rivals, and we have a chance now of jumping a team uh, coming up here. So Brentford, what do we want to see, Matt?
I just want to see us, like the guys in the chat have said, go out, win your first tackle, win your first header, make sure you keep the ball, try and get an early goal, and just don't do anything silly. I think if we keep to our game plan, we don't go and make any rash challenges and do silly things, and we keep our cool, we should win this game fairly comfortably. I don't see anything from Brentford at the moment that would give me too much concern other than their general physicality, which I think as a defensive unit, we are at the moment good enough to deal with. And I think we're wise enough to deal with. So, yeah, I think provided we stick to our game plan, we keep our heads, we should come out with a comfortable win today.
Gary, what do you want to see? And all of our rivals, Manchester United are playing tomorrow. Wolves are playing tomorrow, and Tottenham are playing later today. So, in a little over 2.5 hours, we'll know where we are in the league. And I'm going to tell you, based on goal difference now, we can jump up to 42 points. So we will go fifth. Fifth, right?
With games in hand. With games in hand, right?
Yeah. We had a chance to go fifth with games in hand, Gary.
Yeah, no, as if you don't know, there's only 4 players from that first Brentford game that would be playing today. So we are definitely have changed, and we'll be much better, I think, than we were then in that game. So we're playing at home. Had some time to think about this, so we should be coming out ready to go. Like you said, we should be able to come out firing, right? It would be nice to score early and put a lot of pressure on them that they wilt under the pressure. So I'm
going to correct myself and say we need to get fifth, but due to goal difference, we're 2 goals inferior in goal difference. We need a three goal deficit or win. Yeah. We have to win by a clear 3 goals.
You know what? Yeah, I mean the fifth doesn't matter right now as far as the points, right? Because we're tied on points and we have games in hand. Hopefully you get a draw out of one of those games in hand, and then it doesn't matter at that point, right? So
look at this. I thought Brownie was a closet. He's just
come on, Brownie.
You know what? He's learning from you. He's just like, you know what? Let me poke the bear, and that's what he's doing because you do it all the time.
We know, yeah, and maybe should I adjust my style and not poke as much, Gary?
You know what? It's rubbing off now. See what you did now? Now Brownie's doing it, right?
Is that what
Brownie never shakes the tree to see what falls out. He never does it. And now look what
you forced him into. Yeah.
I mean, Brownie loves to shake the tree, man. He wants to see what falls out when he shakes it.
I know, Matt, you were watching Thursday night's podcast, but it took Gary 20 minutes to not answer a question. Clearly, yes or no.
Hey, I'm learning from Arteta. You know what? I'll tell you everything, but I'll tell you nothing.
Tough game for Arsenal playing a big club like Brentford. Up the Arsenal.
See, everybody's playing a big club like Brentford, man. Yeah.
Hey, that big club beat us at the beginning of the season too.
I saw something. What did it say? Like in the last 11 games or something against Brentford, Arsenal's only won twice in the league. Yeah, so it's like
it was probably 100.
There's many decades or something like that in between it, but in all those games. But
yeah. Better check on Cardiff stadiums. Roof is blown over by Eunice. So listen. Hope everybody has been safe. In these, I don't know. It's just rain and snow right now. Hopefully the winds have dissipated. Matt, we got Matt's. Who do we hope to score? It was myself and Matt earlier. Gary, who are you hoping? Who needs a goal from Arsenal today?
I would like to see Emil Smith-Rowe hit 10 goals for the season. That'd be nice, right? Why not? He comes. Yeah. He's been slowing down a little bit. He hasn't scored in what seems like a month because it'd be nice to see Emil Smith-Rowe come in there and open things up and get a goal. I would like Saka to just take it on himself and score. And you know, if we're talking that we need 3 goals, we need to win by at least 3 goals, then it's gonna be at least 4 goals have to be scored, I believe, for me to feel like we can get that 3 goal cushion that we want. So definitely those 2, and then Pepe comes in to clean it up. That would be that. If they're you saw the articles today about Pepe, right? If that's the case, there's articles about Pepe and his change in his mannerisms or change in his, how he's been playing or practicing with the team, which I guess practice seems to be the thing. All right. So they see a difference in him. So hopefully that means, he'll come in and then close out the game and we win it, 4-1.
Hopefully the penny. So the penny may have dropped, as we say in Ireland, for Pepe. He might have got it.
But the trick to that whole thing is you got it show confidence in him until you got to play him.
True.
Those
I
two
believe
on the pitch.
Barry, do you believe he's the 12th? Do you believe? Well, the Arsenal crowd should be the 12th man, but do you think Pepe is the first substitute?
Depends on how this game's going, because like I said, I think Tomiyasu needs to play. All right.
Alright.
If we're up 4-1, maybe you're gonna rest one of the youngsters anyway. So yeah, Pepe would come on, but I think Tomiyasu, I mean Cedric's actually played good, and I think this is a similar situation to when we had Tavage playing on that back left, and he actually had some decent games where we could say, you know what, you can play the next one as well. So when you have a good Cedric, you might as well tap into that, because you never know. You know, if he starts to struggle, Tomiyasu can probably come in hopefully and clean things up.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully it doesn't really matter because we're up 2 goals, but we'll see.
And hopefully the conditions help our passing, and we're able to zip the ball around. And hopefully it's not the opposite, as I prefaced earlier in the podcast, that it becomes a bit of a slog and a ball goes amiss in our defense, and Tony's there to finish it. So let's get off to a good start. As Alex will say over at Cannon Fodder TV, 1 game at a time. Don't look at those other 5 right now. It's Brentford. It's only Brentford, right? Gotta be only Brentford.
Yes. All right, everyone.
Catch us
Thank you
tomorrow.
for joining us.
Catch us tomorrow. Tony will be taking time away from maneuvers in Eastern Europe, and he will be presenting, hopefully, the Tony Don Juan Man in Match. So thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow.
See you guys
on the post-game show.
Have a good one. Come on, you goodness.
Thanks, everyone. Come on, you goodness.
I'll get this last comment in here. A tad windy. My garden fence blew down. You got some work to do, Stefan. All right, we're out of here.
Fix it.
All right, everyone.